Welcome back to the program. All key monetary policy parameters of Nigeria's central bank remain unchanged. This was the major announcement coming out today after the two-day meeting of Nigeria's rate-setting committee. Now, the 10-member committee all voted to retain the MPR at 14%, retain the CRR at 22.5%, retain the liquidity ratio at 30%, and retain the asymmetric window at plus 200 and minus 500 basis points around the MPR. The 52nd meeting of the committee, which ended today in Abuja, is the final meeting of the committee for the year. Well, let's get more out from this meeting, and joining us to discuss this is Channels TV Business News editor Bosun Omofaya. Thank you so much for joining us on the program, Bosun. I'm afraid we lost connection with Bosun there. We do hope to reconnect with him and get more on this. But let's just move on and get you for some other news. Staying with Nigeria, the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Abayomi Olonisaki, is calling for a regular review of strategies in the ongoing counterterrorism operations to minimize cases of human rights abuse. The Defense Chief, who was represented by the Chief of Administration at a conference in Abuja, emphasizes the need for the armed forces to adopt international best practices during their operations.
Several international and local rights activists and groups have criticized the military of human rights violations in its counterinsurgency crusade in the northeast and other parts of the country, even as the military try hard to defend its operations. This conference, organized by the Defense Headquarters and the Center for Civilians in Conflict, is aimed at strengthening civilian protection policy during military operations. The representative of the Chief of Defense Staff states the need for a review of military operations policies to minimize human rights abuses.
Civilian harm remains a tragic reality in any conflict, especially in conflicts without clear battlefields. It is therefore imperative to continue to evolve civilian harm mitigation policies, practices, and procedures for our operational guidelines.
Meanwhile, the Director of Civil and Military Relations explains the challenges that troops face trying to maintain balance between flushing out terrorists and protecting civilians during operations.
War amongst the people places peculiar challenge for the regular force in the choice and use of force to avoid collateral damage. Sadly, insurgents with terrorist ideology defy all known conventions and see the population as vital to their quest.
On the sideline of the event, the Managing Director of the Center for Civilians in Conflict says they hope to share international best practices that can be employed to protect civilians during military operations.
There are groups who are using civilians as targets, who are using them as human shields. And one thing that we've found in other conflicts is that there are actually tools and policies and practices that can be put in place to help security forces better protect civilians, even in these difficult situations.
Recent efforts in military to address issues relating to the protection of the rights of civilians include the setting up of the Civil Military Relations Desk at the Defense Headquarters. But this has not completely freed the military from accusations of human rights violations during operations.
The Moroccan city of Marrakesh has launched a new bike sharing scheme. It's said to be the first of its kind in Africa or the Arab world. The environmental friendly project also taps into an old cycling tradition in the city.
The Moroccan city of Marrakesh, host of the COP22 World Summit for Climate, from the 7th to the 18th of November, has launched Africa's first fully functioning bike share scheme, Medina Bikes. With 320 brand new bicycles docked in 10 key landmarks and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the environmental friendly project also taps into an old cycling tradition in the city.
The city of Marrakesh is one of the first cities to take this initiative because cycling is part of the culture of its inhabitants. Secondly, We want to see this project in all the Moroccan cities because it is an initiative that creates jobs and makes it easy for many citizens to move because it's very low cost.
Cycling is seen here as a possible way to alleviate the pressure on the city's congested roads, while also keeping with Morocco's commitment to implement green policies. The Medina Bikes project was conceived by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization and supported by the Moroccan government on a local and national level. It was implemented by Moroccan company Estates Vision in partnership with France's Move, the company that launched similar programs around the world, including Moscow, Chicago, and Vancouver. Abdelatif Bouiskran from Estates Vision said there were two main aims of the project.
One of the objectives of these environmentally friendly bicycles is to reduce the carbon, while the second objective is to reduce congestion, because people can use these bicycles to move around easily inside the city.
Also helping the cycling revival in Marrakesh is Dutch NGO Picala, who offer free bike maintenance during the COP22.
Well, thousands take part in the annual Great Ethiopian Run despite a state of emergency in effect since October. The event brings together professional and amateur long-distance runners from around the world and is seen as a parade for new athletic talent.
The Great Ethiopian Run drew thousands of participants onto the streets of Addis Ababa on Sunday, November the 20th. Despite a state of emergency imposed on in early October following months of unrest that the government said threatened the nation's stability. The 10-kilometer high altitude road race, which is in its 16th year, attracts professional and amateur runners from around the world. Organizers said there were a record 40,000 registered for the race this year, including 500 professional runners. The women's race winner was a newcomer, Foytin Tesfaye, who finished in a time of 33.09 seconds. Security personnel had been deployed throughout the city. Organizers said there were cancellations, with many international participants citing security fears over the 6-month state of emergency that has been in effect since October the 8th. More than 500 people have been killed in protests in the Oromia region surrounding the capital Addis Ababa and other areas since last year, after anger over a development scheme for the capital sparked broader anti-government demonstrations over politics and human rights abuse. Ethiopia is also grappling with doping issues and poor results on the track after just one gold medal at the Olympics in Rio earlier this year. This year's Great Run introduced for the first time a wave start to let serious runners go ahead of thousands of joggers and many who were there for fun.
Well, that's Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.